copy.
I didn't bang it yet. Yeah, I'm waiting on Audrey to sit down.
We're gonna make y'all copies.
Here's some notes I was thinking. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. At this time, we will move to sheriff's item. Welcome. Thank you for coming today. As we've been talking for the last 2 days, counting today, what our goal is to have this budget meeting to review the budget, and we're in the process of looking for approximately $15 million to balance this budget. The goal is within reach, but not there yet, so we've invited everyone here who is in our budget to come forward and to offer any savings that they may have or any recommendations for operational expenses that they could help offset that $15 million. So with that, we welcome you here today, and if you have anything to offer, we would appreciate it. Yes?
Just copy in their budgets form real quick.
Okay, well, we
Now,
can,
we can go to, I think we ought to go to the back pages for this one, in the white pages. Page 31, there's quite a few divisions, so I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, we'll call you back.
okay, everyone, they're waiting on that budget there.
She's copying it right now. If y'all just want to kind of start looking through it and maybe ask questions.
Yeah, as we're looking through, I just want to make note, I believe the sheriff had a medical emergency. I just wanted to give the sheriff's representatives an opportunity to we'll let them know. Please pass the council's condolences and his well wishes at least for us. I know I don't know his condition now, but
He's actually
we
back to
definitely.
work today. He's been at work all day.
That figures, yeah.
It's just more of a scare. He had a little.
All right, well, good to hear he's doing good, and
Thank you.
we're definitely concerned.
We'll tell him that.
Okay, move forward,
Page 31,
page 31.
Sheriff General.
Any questions on page 31? Any comments? The only thing I see is a 169% increase in communications telephone service.
That's budgeted by telecommunications.
It's what?
Budgeted by telecommunications.
Oh, okay.
I have a question about professional services, the code enforcement officer. Is that a dual position with health? I don't know. I know we have, is it Randall? Who is it a totally different position, or?
I'm not sure about that.
Professional services sheriff code enforcement officer.
What code enforcement are you talking about?
Well, I don't know, it says
Code
it-
enforcement I know is Butch Gilbert that does the checks on businesses for
Occupational licenses?
occupational license and that type, and permits.
Yeah, this is not a parish employee, this was a professional service, so.
So is he retired and have a contract with you?
He's retired and he works part-time, whether it's a contract through an LLC, that I
No,
can't answer.
it's not. He works for basically 50% of what he used to work for.
So that's what that represents, I guess?
And then I don't
I'm
think so.
assuming.
I don't know. I mean, I've been looking for, for folks to help out with code enforcement for a long time, and I just saw this as something that we're paying for, 18,910.
We're gonna try to see what it was charged.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know it's Randall, Raymond. Okay, I'm sorry, Raymond. I think it's the gentleman. Oh, he is here.
Yeah.
Raymond's from the health department.
That's what I'm saying, but I guess that's who we've been calling for code enforcement help.
We're writing checks.
I just wanted to know if we were double paying or.
Occupational license agreement.
We actually just write checks to the sheriff's department on that. So I couldn't tell you exactly who it is.
It's gotta be Butch then, I would imagine.
Might
All
might
right,
be a reimbursement thing.
all right, thanks.
Kind of security.
Okay, any, next item, Belle Chasse lockup? No questions? Next page, page,
Question, hold on, I have a question.
yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
The supply janitorial, going from $1,000, well, y'all only used $1,000 in 2014. Y'all budgeted $12,000, but there's $10,000 in the budget for 15. I'll explain why
that-
y'all asked for 12,000 and only used 1,500. Do y'all need that whole 10,000 that y'all are asking for again?
I'm not sure where the figure came from, to be honest with you. I mean, that's normally janitorial supplies and stuff. I don't know how it gets furnished, even I didn't know it was really allocated that way. I'm sure it's cleaning chemicals and whatever for the various buildings that we have. But most of that, we have inmates that maintain and keep the office clean and that sort of thing. We don't even use parish staff for that.
Right, I understand.
So other than supplies, you know.
I don't think that's just for Belle Chasse lockup. I
You
think
know.
that's for the other buildings that we
No,
operate.
they each have their own line. So, I mean, my question is, y'all only spent $1,500 in 2014. Are y'all expecting to spend about the same amount in 2015?
I would say if that's strictly limited to Belle Chasse lockup, I would say that's accurate assumption. Maybe 5% increase or 10% increase for inflation or cost of products going up, but if that's a true, if what you, I don't have what
Page
you're looking
33.
at.
So,
I don't have page
so we
I just
take
got
7,000
4,000.
out of 10, you do 3?
What's that?
So we take 7,000 out of 10,000, we use 3,000?
If that's strictly Belle Chasse lockup and we only use 1,500,
We just go by 3.
yes,
I think it'd be very safe to assume, yeah.
yeah, I'd be,
Thank you.
All the toilet paper and the bathroom chemicals.
7.
I'm not good looking at
Same thing, yeah.
So next page,
it. Are we on page 33?
Page 33,
this is 541.070, supplies janitorial. It goes from $68.12 to $33.70, and y'all budgeted for 4,000. So we assume we could.
I think you probably cut it down to $500 based on that.
Right.
Right. So we take $3,500, 4,000?
I would probably agree with you. That's all we spent, that's all we spent.
Do we know when that post office lockup's gonna be finished? I know we broke ground on it. Is there a timeline?
you remember the
I have no
contract?
idea. I don't know.
It's not gonna be finished, I believe, until the first of next year.
Okay.
I was thinking
and that's
18
what the
months.
62,000 for is rental of a trailer or something? Rental lease buildings?
Which trailer?
527-110.
527, 110, ports off a lockup trailer, or it says rental leases buildings, 62,000.
That's the evidence
Oh.
trailer.
But,
The other trailer had mold and leaks in it, we had to replace it.
Any other comments or questions on page 33?
so they're increasing from 24,014 to 62,000?
That's correct.
Okay,
It's a whole new facility.
okay.
Ma'am,
Where's sulfur?
what building, ma'am?
You're saying
Trailer
it's
system.
a lease?
The trailer's behind Belle Chasse lockup. It's the
Okay, so
evidence
that's-
trailer. That's
Is
what
that
they-
what we're referring-
No, that's not.
Referring to Port Telfa lockup.
Ports of where the old lockup was. They're building
They said
where the
Fort
old
Sulphur,
lockup,
yeah.
The old lockup right adjacent to the,
across from the firehouse, where the old lockup used to be.
We're not talking about the new construction. She's talking about,
The trailer.
we're paying $62,000 for a building in Port Sulphur to replace temporarily The,
Do we have an office?
That's the compound down there where the water tower is.
And home place.
Yes.
Oh, at home place, because I know
But-
that was in the building.
Nothing in that post office.
Right, in
But-
Port Sulphur.
So,
Those trailers that were in Port Sulphur by the parish complex had been moved.
Right.
Correct.
Freeport kicked us off.
This, the item on page 33. 527.110, rental lease buildings, the budget is 62,000. Is that the actual location in home place on the water tower?
That has to be the new, there's no other, those trailers have been moved that were in Port Sulphur.
right, exactly.
Now
But
they're
y'all
all
are
by the
leasing-
water tower.
Yeah, and y'all are leasing those,
Yes.
So that's
Okay.
what this,
and the
There's gotta be.
lease, the lease is gonna increase from 24,258 in 14 to 62,000 in 15?
That I can't tell you off the top of my head because I think it represents, the trailers that were down there was condemned and that may be a new trailer.
Tommy, can we look into that?
What's that now?
That's good.
527.110, page 33.
William Stockton Scotsman.
William Scotsman? How much do we pay William Scotsman a month?
We all had 112 budgeted before, it looks like in 14.
Right, and only
No, we
spent
only used
25.
24.
Wait.
Okay.
Let's
So we
try to
put
talk
it-
one at a time.
So we apparently cut it down to 62,000.
But again, you only used 24 last,
I don't think it's for a full year, though.
It decreased
That
to
was
about
there.
49, almost.
Is it for a full
That
year?
was
For a full year.
based on the old trailers that were there that was being used, I believe. This is supposedly a new trailer.
that place and home place hasn't been there a whole year?
Not that whole thing. No, that compound's been there, ma'am, because that's where we also used to keep the inmates and all, the trustees that worked in that area. But, and also that's where their lockdown
Different amount,
facility was.
same
But
company.
we've moved where those old trailers that we used to those double wide trailers where the Freeport Sulphur building is. Those are gone and they were condemned and we put something else down there. That's gotta be what represents the additional
For what,
cost.
one more?
Can we refer to Rochelle, just so she can explain exactly how much money we spent in 2014 on this facility?
From January through September, we paid William Scotsman $2,090 a month, and in October, the price went down to $1,813 a month. Still William Scotsman, it's just the price changed in October.
Which gives us the actual 24,258. So I think the question is, then why are we budgeting 62,000, you know?
That would be the only thing that y'all are renting at this time for the
In-
Port Sulphur
in
area.
Port
is
Sulphur,
the-
that's
The
correct.
home place compound.
But I wouldn't know where the building is that they're renting.
It's in home place.
it's the office spot right there next to the road. You have the compound trailer units. That's a
It's a fenced in.
double wide unit.
What are your wishes, council members?
The wish?
Can't we just reduce the budget amount to whatever, $1,800 a month, and then if we have to adjust it, they will just tell us.
I'd say cut it 32,000.
We would suggest we cut it, if $1,800 a month is what the current contract, cut it down to $1,800 a month for 12 months. If, if there's an increase, we'll have to come back and let y'all know. That would be fair. I mean, what's that, 24,000, 22,000 a year, something like that.
22.
Okay,
We have no
recommendation.
objection, it's not like we're making money, it's just a pass-through thing.
So let's say 40 hours, leave.
Yeah, I mean, that would be reasonable.
Thank you.
Well, 40 would be a little much because it's 24.
Well, the lease
Well,
went
20.
down though.
22, about 22,000.
Right.
Okay, 40. All right, Tommy.
Okay, next page. 34, prison Paul Ash.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Who starts?
Any questions, comments from the table? Proceed.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we have estimated substantially in excess of what is budgeted here. Probably in the neighborhood of $2 to $2.5 million a year to operate the Point Hash facility in general maintenance costs, not counting laborers and that sort of thing, food or, just basically. I'm sorry? So we are estimating, projecting between $2.1 and $2.5 million roughly to run that facility. We don't have any hard figures to work with because the bills are just starting to come in now, so it's basically a guesstimation.
Unless we stay here all night.
Any comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. The current budget of $858,750, is that sufficient to pay for the 72 prisoners roundabout of what we're required to pay for?
Well, no.
Pay for the prisoners?
The prison itself.
Would pay for the prisoners and the accessories included, electricity
No.
for 72 people?
The prison itself, with nobody in it, is going to cost over $2 million.
Okay, but the prison itself is over an 800-bed prison.
Correct.
All right, so we're responsible for the parish prisoners. My question is the $858,000, is that an adequate amount to pay for what we're responsible for?
No.
I'm not talking about the building.
Well, we believe, state law says, that the parish shall furnish the parish prison. This is the parish prison provided gratis from FEMA. We didn't pay for it, you didn't pay for it. We believe state law dictates that. There may or may not be an agreement on that, but the law does seem to say that. So again, with no prisoners whatsoever, the jail is going to be over $2 million just sitting there. That's what it's going to cost to keep it running, keep everything in shape, you know, the air conditioners, blah, 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 and the mechanicals of it working with nobody in it. You don't take a prison and allocate and say, okay, we have 80 prisoners or 100 prisoners and it's going to cost this much, because as far as the prisoners go, the parish is only obligated to pay $3.50 a day towards their maintenance. The sheriff has to absorb that cost beyond that, as far as the salaries and, you know, that type of thing. The parish, the sheriff buys the food, you know, your reimbursement is limited by statute to $3.50 a day. However, we believe state law says you also shall furnish a prison, and I can give you many
But it doesn't
statutes.
say we have to furnish a prison that's of that magnitude. Who owns the prison?
Who owns the prison?
No, who owns?
the law
Yeah,
enforcement-
exactly, that's my
law
question.
enforcement district.
The law enforcement district, which is not the Plaquemines Parish government, right?
Okay?
So my question is, the Plaquemines Parish government is responsible for the 72 prisoners up and down, wherever it
No,
goes.
the law has no bearing on the number of prisoners
I
served.
know it doesn't have
The
a
issue is-
bearing on a number of prisoners, but it has bearing on, I mean, that happens to be the number.
Right, right. But basically, the law says it's the sheriff's job to run the prison. It's the parish's job to furnish the prison. That's established in court case after court case after court case, and statutes or whatever. And the council may disagree with that. I mean, that's your choice to disagree. We believe that's what the statutes say. I think I can give you realms of data on that. We've had it researched by attorneys, independent attorneys of us, and we have every reason to believe we're on sound footing. And if you disagree,
Have you had an
disagree.
attorney general opinion on it?
I can give you about 15. I can give you two
On this
Supreme Court.
specific, on this
No, not
specific
this
prison?
facility, no. We would have to get another one, and we've discussed that, and we would maybe have to get another one. Maybe we'll have to file a friendly lawsuit, if you will. We don't want to do that, but maybe we'll have to. If you want,
Have you thought about turning the prison over to the parish?
yeah, actually we have. Thought about donating it to
Whatever
you.
y'all want to take. I'll throw it.
As soon as we can get the for sale signs ready, I'm sure we will.
You can have it for free, actually.
Y'all can eliminate $1,001,000 by taking over all the medical. And that's by statute. Y'all are responsible for that anyway, off this budget. Y'all be responsible for the medical, which also includes the liability if you mess up.
Any comments further?
I don't think it's handled right.
The need for an 800-bed facility, where did that come from?
Man,
Nobody's sitting in this
it
room.
come from Sheriff Hingle. You know where that came from.
No, well, no, the reason I'm asking is I want you to tell me, because it didn't come from this council.
I'll tell you what this council didn't do. When Sheriff Hingle proposed this council nor the parish president at the time did any opposition to stop it. They didn't ask him why he needed that. They didn't ask him who's gonna pay for it. They did nothing. They allowed Sheriff Hingle to go ahead with construction, and he built the monster that we have down there.
But the council,
That's what
but the
this parish
council,
council did.
No,
Now,
Mr.
the council
Cernovich,
did.
no, the council nor the parish president.
hold on, one at a time. We're going to have to refrain from outburst. One at a time.
I just want,
Well, let me see, first of all, Ms. Salvin, are you completed?
Yes, I guess I'm depleted.
Depleted?
Yeah, I'm depleted too, yes.
Depleted.
I'm depleted and
Councilman
depleted.
Black.
Yeah, my question is you referred to the council and the parish president. I don't think they had did they have the authority to stop it since it was a law enforcement district?
Call you right back in a minute.
The council never had the authority to
Okay,
stop
so-
the sheriff.
I'm gonna call you
But
back
the
in a minute.
council could have opposition to it, which would have brought maybe public discontent with the sheriff, what he wanted to do, and we wouldn't have the monster that we have now.
Okay.
But they never had the authority to do
When
so.
I say the council, I'm referring to the body, the council.
I understand.
Not necessarily the members here. Most of y'all had nothing to do with it.
And the same thing applies, Mr. Circovich, for you as a law enforcement officer. You take on the burden that your predecessor,
That's correct, ma'am.
okay?
You're 100% correct on that.
Any more questions on page number 34?
Yes, I know Mr. Segovich, but I don't know your name. What's your name? sir?
Buzz Anderson,
Buzz Anderson. And what is your position?
I'm the internal auditor for the sheriff's office.
You're an internal auditor.
Wait a minute. Seeking, I would give you 2 million, but they took my little 2 million.
Well,
Any further comments on page number 34?
I got one.
yes, sir.
So, according to this budget here, you're way under budget.
The budget's
Right
inadequate.
here.
The budget's inadequate, yes, in our opinion. Yes.
Any
It's
further-
grossly inadequate.
Any further discussion on that page? If not, we'll move to page number 35.
2 million on it.
Juveniles. Actual in 2014. Any questions on page 35? None?
Yes, I do have a question. What's the reason for the increase?
Increase.
Increase, we don't have a juvenile facility. Everything dealing with juveniles is sent to St. Bernard, who holds juveniles for us. If there's an increase, it's an increase due to higher arrest averages or concerning juveniles or something to that effect.
And how much a day we pay to St. Bernard, you know?
Mr.
Like
Russell,
90
I have
bucks.
no idea right now.
Used to be about $80.
It's like $90 a day. or
$90.
something.
It's a lot more than an adult, but yeah.
It's around, I want to say like 94 is a per diem rate, I think, something like that.
Any comments on page 35? None? Move to page number 36. Any questions, comments? None? Move to page number 37. Courthouse security. Any comments or questions?
That 67,000 for the salaries for the courthouse security, how many officers is that?
Just one officer.
That officer represents your employee, not ours.
Wait, clear that up for me.
You have, out of all the courthouse security, there's one that's paid directly by you. That's that person right there.
That's the 67,000.
The rest of them, we basically pay and you reimburse us for.
Well, actually, professional services,
That's what I was on.
532,247 and 532,250. Well, 532,250 doesn't have a line item number, but 532,247 are the actual personnel, from what my understanding is, Councilman Burt, as far as personnel. And we do pay $197,000.
Well, we didn't pay anything last year, Councilmember Black.
I know, but they budgeting for 197.
He was paid out of line below.
Oh, okay.
So I'm back to our own employee. We have one employee that we pay directly, but he
Clay
is,
Bartholomew. He's a civil service employee that was hired by the parish council or the parish president.
And we've commissioned him. He's a deputy sheriff. He's
He's a
commissioned.
commissioned officer, but he's
He's
your
paid by
employee.
you. He's under your
I didn't
retirement
realize that he was a
system.
parish employee.
Yes.
Yes, he's under your retirement system and your insurance and everything.
And he was, and also Danny DeMaul before Danny retired.
So they just transferred from the court to that position and stayed in the parochial retirement
When-
system.
Yes.
When Judge Rowe retired, they came to work for the parish government as court security.
Okay. Any more questions on the professional services courthouse security? And those guys are paid, those are the off-duty that are paid to do security? Or they,
No, that's all mostly retired officers that work part-time with no benefits. They get paid by the hour.
how much an hour?
I think $30.
$30 a billing rate, yeah, based on, I think, y'all standard.
Yeah, that's your standard, not ours.
Now, you keep saying us. If it's us, you know, we can reduce that rate pretty easily.
That's up to you.
That's up to you.
That's up to you.
Who negotiated that deal?
Your predecessors.
You mean?
That was based on the rates that y'all were paying other security officers, I believe, and that's $30 what came like Clay and Danny.
$7,000 for.
Danny and Clay were making that, and that's how the average was derived.
Yep.
And so,
Well, I'm getting mixed signals on that, so we need to get to the bottom of that. I don't understand.
Be another meeting.
Another meeting, you're right, put that on the list. All right, any further comments or questions on this item?
Mr. Chairman, make some comments on the administration. I do realize that we've all inherited some certain challenges, and just want the general public to know that we will continue to work closely with the council and the chairman. We met last night, in fact, with Mr. Sarkovich and Mr. Anderson until about 8:30, I believe it was, and we will continue to explore every opportunity to try and come up with solutions to this situation with the prison. And of course, keep in mind that we'll be dealing with all facets of government, not only the sheriff's department, but also the school board, to see what direction we can go in.
Thank you, sir. Can you enlighten us maybe a little bit on that conversation? I mean, I'm pretty concerned about the prison. I think pretty much everybody in the parish is pretty concerned about the prison. So if the internal auditor for sheriff wants to elaborate a little bit about the conversation last night that I think a few other council members may not have knowledge of.
we thought it best to just have a small meeting. We met with Mr. Roussel and Mr. Cormier to discuss just possible things we could do with the jail, and we didn't reach anything conclusive and didn't reach a point of agreement about liabilities of who was liable for what. We've had legal opinions rendered, but the parish hasn't had the opportunity to do so, and they may disagree. You know, when you have 3 lawyers in a room, you're going to get 3 opinions, and that may be where we are. I don't know. We're trying to work a peaceful solution out for everybody. We're not here to make enemies or create problems. It's just something we've inherited, basically, and we have to follow through. The building is there. We can't dispute
Right,
that.
and we fully understand that.
And,
so what possibilities did you have?
One of the possibilities was rededication of an existing tax, and that apparently Mr. Roussel didn't feel like it would work, and I tend to agree with him. He pointed out some things I wasn't aware of, and I tend to agree with what he had to say, so we stopped at that. We thought we had a solution.
That existing tax is the fire tax?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It would have involved rededication to reallocate money to the jail and reallocate money to the emergency medical service. But apparently it's not adequate money from what it appeared to be. On paper, it looked like there's a huge surplus of cash. That's not the case anymore. And I wasn't aware that Mr. Roussel brought that to my attention. I didn't realize it. He's absolutely correct. I agree with him. It's not a viable solution anymore. I thought it was, but it's not.
Any other possibilities that you discussed?
Yeah, we discussed the possibility of a new tax, which none of us want to do. You know, the parish could pass a tax to fund the jail, the sheriff could pass a tax to fund the jail. Those kind of issues were discussed. I think none of us really want to go for a new tax right now, so we're kind of at that somewhat political decision, I guess, if we're going to move forward there. But the problem is we have to act quickly. The jail is now open. Bills are coming in. Somebody's going to have to pay them, or we have to close the jail. I mean, that's just, those are the options available, and that's, you know, we haven't heard any good solutions. Yes, sir.
Can you enforce a millage without going to the people?
We could pass it, no, it'd have to be passed by the people. And we don't want to, we're not going to do anything that the people don't vote on. We're not going to be
I'm not
part of
saying I
it.
understand it, but
No.
I'm saying I think there's a law state that
A
something.
millage would have to be passed by the sheriff or by the parish to fund the jail specifically, or something like that. And it would have to be a vote of the people. It'd have to be a popular vote. You know, they'd agree or disagree, you know, so. Unfortunately, that's where we are. And I don't know of any other solutions. And the parish, you know, we're totally aware this is very painful for the parish as well, because you largely depend on oil prices. Oil prices are down, and we're painfully aware of that too. We're not trying to be an additional burden on the parish. It's just something we have to deal with and address.
And I think unfortunately, we don't have legal representation here today with us. But I can recall from previous meetings that our legal representative, disagreed with what your legal representative said as far as who's responsible for what. So I think we're probably stalemated at that position. I mean, is that pretty much your understanding? And now you talked about.
The legal representative was there. It may not be the same legal representative you had. He was at the meeting last night. He didn't agree nor disagree with us. He said he really hasn't fully researched it yet, but we gave him a substantial amount of research that we had. We had legal opinion rendered by a local attorney here in the parish. And as I said, we've had, there's at least 2 Supreme Court cases that basically state that it's a parish obligation to furnish a jail. It's not a may, it's a shall furnish a parish jail. And unless you can show me another jail, there is no parish jail right now. So, it is an obligation of the parish, we believe. And statutes would seem to
Based on how you articulate that.
Well, I would
finding,
say
right.
statutes would seem to reinforce that. Of course, this is a peculiar situation, and in 64 parishes, I think only 3 sheriffs have actually built jails. And it was usually done, as Mr. Circovich may have pointed out last night at least, that usually the parishes were involved. For example, St. Charles Parish, the sheriff built a jail, but the parish had agreed previously to fund the jail by paying a $26 per day per diem rate, which is well above the $350, obviously. And since it's mostly parish inmates in the parish prison, the sheriff used that to finance the jail, basically. So the parish, rather than furnishing the capital outlay up front, over time is paying a higher per diem rate. That was an option they chose. I think Tangipahoa Parish built an auxiliary prison, and they paid for that completely, and they supposedly funded that through state inmates, but they're not making money with it. There may be another jail in the state I don't know of. There's a private facility in Jackson Parish that the private company operates and pays for, through the sheriff, but he has nothing to do with it.
And have you guys made efforts to maybe privatize it?
Oh, yeah, we've offered it to the state, we've offered to lease it to the state, we've offered to sell it, we've offered it to some private prison operations. And the problem is the location's not the best in the world, let's be honest. Labor is a severe problem. I mean, there's just not enough people on the East Bank to even staff a facility that size. Probably prior to Katrina and the last storms we've had, you may have had population here, but there's not enough population here. You're looking at, in my opinion, around 200 people operate a facility that size with, say, 800 inmates to 1,000 inmates in that ballpark, somewhere in there. So you're going to need around 200 staff. That's count transportation, booking, floor officers, everything, okay? Where are you going to find 200 people in the East Bank? I mean, realistically, it's just not plausible. I think we all agreed last night it was not the best undertaking in the world to build a facility there in the first place.
No doubt.
But nobody in this room had any say in the matter. That's that. It's built. Here it is now. It's a beautiful facility. It's paid for by FEMA. The federal government paid for it. We didn't pay a nickel for it. You haven't paid a nickel for it. There it is.
Right. I just,
Well, yes.
and we do need to come to some type of arrangement or whatnot, but I don't want to be threatened with a lawsuit. I mean, that's.
I wasn't a threat. It was offered as an option last night as it'd be a friendly lawsuit. It's not like we're out to get you. It wouldn't be like that. Because this is not a hostile situation. We're certainly not against the administration or the council. We don't want to be in that situation, ever. Not even just an election year, but any time. We don't want to be there. That's not our goal. But our goal is the sheriff does have an obligation to run the jail. And the problem is we just don't have a sufficient budget to maintain and run that facility. We never would have intended to, and I think if Sheriff Brecco would have been sheriff 4 to 8 years ago, we wouldn't be having that jail right now, and we'd be in a different situation, but that didn't happen, and here we are.
Are there any other facilities locally that we could house the 70-plus prisoners that we have?
We lost our arrangement with Orleans, and I don't know where else we could house them.
There's no facilities near parishes that can hold any inmates right now. They're filled to capacity themselves. That's in Jefferson, St. Tammany.
I'm going to call you back in 2 minutes during the meeting.
Any further comments, questions? Yes, Councilman Janai.
As I see, and we're all here together, and we're all working together.
We're hoping to.
We haven't. Well, we would like you to, because everyone else that we've talked to in the past 2 days we've asked them to give a little bit. And they did give a little bit. We given a little bit. Our administration is giving a little bit. It's not that we against the sheriff's office, or you. We're not, because it's everybody in Plaquemines Parish responsible for that prison, not just me or you, everybody. So right now, in the money crunch we in, it's hard for us to say we can give you $2 or $3 million because we cutting back 15 million. We trying to survive. Now, if we give you 2.5 million, then we got to find another 2.5 million, and our people that's working, we might have to lay some off. And that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to lay people off. And if we do, then the first thing they'll say, oh, you're laying me off because you got to pay for the prison. Then that would cause a big uproar. This is what we don't want. We want y'all to work with us, and we'll work with you. But at this moment, we do not have the money. We're trying to raise some money. And I'm not here begging you. I'm here telling you that that's the problem. Now, if you can't work with us with that, then I don't know what we can do.
Well, Mr. General, the problem is the jail is in fact open now.
I understand.
We now have possession of the jail.
I
FEMA's
understand.
turned it over to us. It is an operation. Okay?
Somebody's got to
We
get a loan
believe,
from somebody.
we believe state law mandates that you furnish a prison. Okay? And I understand that money's a problem. We had a very cordial meeting last night. I think I learned a lot from Mr. Roussel, and I think Mr. Cormier has been extremely cooperative. Your legal staff was there. We are trying to work together. But the hard, cold reality is the jail is open. Bills are coming in right now, which we can't pay. So are you going to ask us to close the jail?
I'm not asking you to close it. What I'm saying is that you might be able to get a loan from someone to take care of it this year, and then if our oil prices go up at the end of this year, then we'll be more than glad to help you. But at this time, we in a pickle, and we cannot give you what you're asking for. I would love to. I'd love to give you 20 million, but we don't have it. We don't have it. You as an auditor should know this.
We're not I'm fully aware. I learned a lot last night. I think we had a very productive meeting. We have some disagreements, but I think we all were on the same page. I think we all realize it's a problem we all have to wrestle with. I do understand that you have a money short. I'm very, very aware of that, believe it or not. I worked in this parish a long time, and I'm very familiar with the situation. However, the jail has to be run. And the problem is that we can't run it, and our job is to furnish the labor, which we have, okay? We've staffed up. We've done what the law says we have to do, okay? You're the parish council. If you don't want to run the jail and pay to run the jail, just tell us. That's what I'm requesting. And if the council chooses to tell us, or I don't know what the procedure would be, or if the parish president has to order us to not run a jail, just tell us, okay? We can't pay to run the jail. It's just that simple.
You can't, we can't. Where are we going to get the money from?
Are you able to free up some of our burden? I say burden, but I mean our responsibility. For instance, you know, we house the sheriff's office in the annex. We pay, from what we learned today, a large amount of money at the Pumpkin, which is I'm not sure the exact address, but we pay what?
Main Street.
Yeah, Main Street. I mean, you know, use the prison as a multi-purpose type of center where you can have some of your manpower housed there, as opposed to 7 locations.
Mr. Black, we only got the Regents building we're moving to in April.
I know, so y'all spent $2-point-something million on the Regents building.
That's going to eliminate, at least if not most of those buildings you're talking about, the Pumpkin. That will be given back to the parish.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you guys can approach us with that kind of stuff and say, look, we're going to be moving, we purchased the building, we're going to be moving into it, we're going to release 5 of the buildings you're providing to us at a cost of, you know, $1 million a year, well, maybe we can use some of those funds to help.
Mr. Black, we even offered last night, not maybe joking a little bit, to take and offer the parish prison to you for a courthouse site, okay? Block the building off, wall it in half, whatever, turn it into a courthouse. It's pretty big, it's up, it's built elevated, it's built to the best modern standards, You know, you already have, Mr. Russell told me last night, y'all have $25 million borrowed or budgeted for a courthouse. There's your courthouse, okay? That would be an alternative. You want to convert that to a partial courthouse, partial prison? Let's do it. Back in the old days, the prison used to be part of the courthouse everywhere. That might be an alternative, but that's a future thing. Right now is the issue, and that's a critical issue. We want to work with you guys, and anything we can do to save you a few bucks on the other side is fine. The problem is the jail is open right now. We got to address this.
I agree.
And, borrowing money sounds fine and dandy, but the sheriff is going to have to sign a note to do something, and then you have a legal issue where the sheriff can sign a note to pay something that the parish is legally obligated to pay for. I'm not sure he can. I don't know. It's a legal matter. That's where attorneys come in. We'll have to see if we can even do something and address something like that. We haven't looked into it yet, but you probably can't borrow money to pay somebody else's bills. I'm not sure that we can, because we don't believe it's our bill. Everything and every legal thing we've researched says it's the parish obligation, or not just Plaquemines Parish, in any parish in the state. I mean,
I think we need to just come to a closure because we're not getting anywhere.
Okay?
Let's
I
move
would like to
on.
make one comment, though. As we've been sitting here for the last 2 days in budget hearings, has the sheriff's office done anything similar in the last few months, knowing that this big burden was going to be placed on someone? Have y'all been through any budget reviews or processes?
we had proposed, previous administration of budget money for the facility with guesstimates of what it was going to cost, and they chose to not really budget anything
That's not
for
the
it.
question.
I think Mr. Burt wants
I'm
you.
talking about your internal budgeting, your own budget, the sheriff's
We
office
budgeted
budget.
staff, and we have staff in place. We've got them.
I'm not talking about the jail. I'm talking about your whole,
Well, last year, in September, we actually paid the insurance that presently on the prison, $350,000.
Because you own it. Because you own it.
No.
Yes,
We own it.
yes.
That's correct.
Yes,
That's
so you
correct.
have to pay the insurance.
That's correct. That's unclear whether we're responsible to pay the
It-
insurance on the building, Mr. Black.
It's clear because Mr. Nungas tried to do it and he found out it was illegal.
No, Mr. Nunez.
Absolutely he did.
Something
This
is a
else that was
budget
totally
hearing?
different.
Look, the
We
situation,
already paid some stuff on it.
the situation is this, that we're not gonna solve it here. The goal of this meeting is to look for funds in reducing the operational cost. You're here asking for funds to improve, increase the operational cost. Today, we're not gonna be able to solve that problem. So if you don't have any more questions or any more comments on the item on the budget, we need to move on.
Did we answer all your questions, Mr. Toops?
no, actually you didn't. I'll call the question on.
Go ahead, you want to finish?
All right,
You sure? Okay.
we'll move on. Any next item? You are completed. We thank you for your appearance.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Can we get a total, Tom? 50,500?
$50,500, correct.
Next.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for belaboring that point. The reason why is because that was one of the only times I think we had in a public forum to be able to have this discussion about such a serious issue. So I know we went a little bit over, and I do apologize. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chairman, let me just interject that that meeting last night was held really, on a spur of the moment. The sheriff approached us at the end of the day and called for that meeting because they were going to appear before the budget today. We did not mean to, not to get that meeting out to the rest of the council as far as what was going on, because it did follow a meeting we had at Cypress Park with Mr. Black and Mr. Burt, and so it was called rather hurriedly.
I think they looked at it a while ago and they said the lady was.
Yes, and just to comment on it, since I was in the meeting, we had this same meeting last night. So the outcome was the same, and the discussion was the same. So we're all on the same page at this table anyway. It appears to be. Next item.
Okay, the next thing, we're gonna try to finish up with the directive operations. We're just gonna go to directive operations budgets on page 29. Not much there, just gray.
Okay?
29. Yeah.
Next,
Okay, we good with that one?
on operations.
Operations, good. We can go to, no, we're gonna go to boat hauls, finish up. The last, the departments in, the Director of Operations is the, boat harbors. Let me get to that.
Which page?
Go to page 210 in the gray.
Okay, any questions on page 210?
Goes to 211,
11?
shipyards.
Maintenance of building and grounds is, and maintenance of heavy equipment. Someone might be able to explain that. They just started charging them something, $5,000. Who's the rest in this department?
Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Wallace. Well, okay, well, anybody have questions? I'll start off with a question right there. On building, maintenance, buildings and grounds, 528-6110, you're going from 0 to 5,000. Page 211 of 216 of the gray pages.
Does he have this? Does he have this budget?
We're running out of time today, so what we might want to do is move on to somebody that we can
Okay.
sit all day.
That's the last thing I had for him anyway, so we just, we can move on to, let's see who we got.
What about,
Our health department.
health?
Othello, we got Othello too.
Yeah,
Health department, Dave Gray, or
Yeah.
Four departments, and EMS.
All right.
Othello, you wanna go first?
What page you on, Othello? 67. Of the gray?
Gray, yes, sir.
$67 in the gray. Welcome, sorry to keep you waiting. I know most of your money comes from grants, but you may have some general fund money.
Page 67, on the bottom of one, this is 82, 83, 85.
Is that the white pages she's got? Yeah.
White page.
While the rest of you are sitting out in the audience, if you want to get your paperwork together, we'll move on. Welcome, Ms. Othello.
Othello Hughes, Superintendent of Community Action Agency.
On page
67.
67.
67 in the gray.
Without repeating myself, you know what the goal is.
Yeah, and I'm looking at 82, going down 67 in the gray. This is all of the programs within the Community Action Agency, but those are grants.
Okay.
So we want to look at the one for the parish government and where we could take money
Well,
from.
we could probably go to the white because she's right. Some of this includes grants, so we'll probably be better off going in the back. Let me get that page.
82?
Wait 1 second, we gotta get to the right page.
Okay. Page 82.
Yeah, I think she's right, 82. She's got the white page, we have the gray page.
Okay,
There we go.
yes, ma'am, proceed.
Okay, item 535.05, technical service for internet. We could take 700 from there.
Say that number again?
535.105. Take 700 from there. We go down to 543.110. We can take 300 from there. Under the capital outlay, the first one, 563.005, office equipment, we can remove 1,000 from there for a total of $2,000. And I also have a request, and I know you're strapped for money, but the assistance to the poor and needy, they remove all of the money for the build of handicap ramps under 556.510. And also they remove all the money of the $40,000 for the assistance to the poor and needy, 556.505. If the council would be so gracious and give us something, if possible, of the 60,000.
Okay.
And
still have 100
we are receiving a lot of requests from council districts for handicap ramps, and we build a ramp for those residents who cannot get in and out of their houses. So
And the 150,000 assistance to needy and poor, that is utilities?
that's utility assistance, and last year, we didn't pay anything. Well, the council didn't write any checks. The government didn't write any checks. Louisiana Housing Corporation, it depended on who's the administration at the time. Sometimes they had the local governments to write the checks, and then other times they write the checks themselves, but we actually assist the clients. We served $155,000 last year, in which they wrote the checks.
And so this is to us to write the checks this year?
No, that's for us, but we're not writing the checks again this year. But we budgeted because we never know when they're gonna say, you can write the check. So the 150,000 could come out, we're not gonna use it, because they're writing checks at this time.
Yeah, tell her, does that have a revenue against that on LIHEAP?
Yes,
Because you see a bunch of these things in the back here, they have revenues that go along with this. So if you take the expenses out, we'll have to take out some of the revenues. So
correct, for the grants.
Not really gonna help you for these.
So the only page was been page 82 and 3.
Right, the page in the front, the ones in the front say general,
And the rest are grants.
the rest are grants,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions, comments? Hearing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Your request.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You accommodated at the council meeting, I'm not sure, for the handicap ramps and assistance for whatever the needs are throughout the district. Because I think a lot of the council districts does rely on community action for services.
I think that's it for, human resources.
I'm not sure, because as you mentioned, we are scrapped for funding, so we may be able to assist you throughout the year sometime in the near future.
Okay.
But I agree, I've had two requests, actually, two people called my office about the handicap ramps in the last month.
Yes, we give grants out, so maybe we can cut some of those grants back and give you some of that money.
I would appreciate it.
I have some grants out. I know I saw a couple of them. One particular got 300,000, so maybe we can get some of that in there. All right.
Any more questions?
Let me ask you this. Have you had any success with the private sector trying to create a program for, like, oil companies or industry companies to build ramps?
I have never approached any of the private sectors, but if that's something that the government would like.
Well, it would be a good idea if a ConocoPhillips, for instance, they give to the Y, they give to Woodlands Conservancy. It would be a good idea if they stepped up and had a work day for some of them employees to go out to a home and build a ramp for them, and they could take a picture and get it in the Gazette and that type of thing.
Okay.
Not that anybody reads it, but Let's see the picture.
Mr. Chairman, I do know that Venice Port Complex, they don't supply the lumber, but they do offer the services to build the ramps. Because I know they did it in the Venice area.
The Venice Port Complex?
Mhm.
We should buy the lumber too.
Mr. Chairman, we have spoken also with Ms. Ori, Melissa Ori, with the Phillips 66 about that same proposal that you had just suggested, so we are all working on that possibility for you, Bella.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next?
Next, Human
Chair.
Resources.
Yes.
Can I offer this also? I spoke to Stonehaven, Captain Phillips, I think his name is. He said he would look into it, but it only can offer assistance to the East Bank residents. So,
That's fine.
we're gonna also work,
got
with some of the plans on the West Bank, so I'll look into that also this week.
Mr. Padano would be happy with that.
Yeah, I asked him about the 2 million for the library fund. Thank you.
What page are we on?
52.
We'll take the prison of the courthouse and give them the
52.
library fund, it's no
Item
problem, we
break.
can offset
Break.
everything.
Page 52 in the gray.
I have all that in one big building. The central annex. Take the prison, ship it down to 40. Stand port sofa. No, can't go down there.
Okay, Ms. Beers, welcome today.
One has got the self-insurance and the Human Resources departments.
They can't get out.
Okay.
All right, we'll start with human resources first.
Page, please, page.
53.
53.
Great.
Great.
We have 521305. I've got some stuff pending there, but we can do without $1,000 there. 521405, you can have 2,000 of that. I'll just pay my own dues. 521510, printing, you can have 1,000 of that. 528105, $300 light maintenance. We have an old vehicle assigned to our department that's used as a pool, and so you can just take all of that. 528310, maintenance of office equipment, $500, $250, we'll keep $250. 528315, maintenance of computers, $260 of that. 531001, legal support, general. I have no clue what that is, so 1,000, you can have that all. We don't use that one. Professional services, general. You can have 5,000 back from that one. 532030, professional services investigations. We don't use that. Or we haven't in years, $1,000. You can have that.
Let me ask you this, going back up to Coleman support. I notice the history's been 23, 18, and this year it's 50. Is there any room there?
That I'm not certain of, honestly. We have 2 real big pending cases, one in Court of Appeals right now, and one that we expect to be there, which is in conjunction with that, we have EEOC attached to it. So I think I'll probably need that. Let's see. 541031.
See that?
030, I'm sorry. No, hang on. 541031, computer supplies. No, it's 30, yeah. That $200. 541050, 500 of that. 541240, food, we don't use that. 541260, photographic supplies, you can have that $100. 543110,
300. 543-510, 500. 548-105, 500. 551-105, 2,000. 551-205, 100. 551-405, 1,000.
That's it? That's the only page you have?
Yes, sir.
18,160.
How much is it?
18,160.
18,160? That's it? Any comments, questions? Complete? Thank you very much.
All right, I have self-insurance as well.
Ms.
Okay.
Wanda?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe, let's look at 527-810 rental lease copier machines.
That,
That's because before, all the copy machines were budgeted to the buildings. This year, we did it differently. We coded them to their departments. So you're gonna
Okay.
see that in a lot of different departments where they didn't have any expenditures before, they will this year.
Yeah, that was my concern, because I thought it wasn't,
I would have had no clue what it was.
okay.
I have self-insurance as well.
What page? Page 52?
I can't be as generous with this one, because if, looking at my, usage for last year, we actually used 95% of what was budgeted. And when our original submission for this year, when preparing the budget, has already been cut by 18%. We currently have a couple of really large cases, workers' comp cases out there, and I just don't have
Okay,
room to wiggle.
all right.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, you handle insurance overall, right?
Yes, sir.
I've had several requests by different individuals that would like to come in and evaluate our policies to see if there's ways to save money. One of them came through the port, went and saved the port, I don't know, 16% or 22%, whatever, on the Harlem River items. So is there, and all I've been doing is referring them to you to come in and look at what we have and see if there's a better way to do it. So you'll see those people coming in.
I'll give you a little bit of background if you'd like. What we do every so many years is do an RFQ. And, we go through the whole process to pick out and invite people or, to come in and show us what they have, tell us what they can do with our program, and, score them just like you would with any other type of service. And last summer would have been the normal time that I would have redone it. However, with the new administration coming in, I thought it was best to wait so that the new president could, be a part of the process. To choose, who he thought would service us best. So at this point, my plan is to do that again, probably starting right at the beginning of July.
Okay. Is there some type of preparatory work that they can come in and review before?
As long as I get approval from my director to give the information to whomever asks for it, a simple note, hey, may I please have a copy of this, for me to take to him and stamp, I have no problems with it.
I have two individuals that have contacted me in the last couple of months. One of them lives in Springwood and one of them lives in Pleasant Ridge. Both of them residents of the parish that were looking to entertain the idea. They had some preconceived conception that they were not even going to be considered in the past, so they didn't participate.
I don't know where this gentleman lives, but there's one gentleman that I keep in touch with regularly who is aware that he, as soon as our packets go out,
and our requests, he's at the top of our list. So we welcome anybody.
Okay, well, we'll have a couple coming your way.
Okay, good.
Just have them send a request and we'll send it.
I've already talked to them, and they sent them
Okay.
to who, so you can send them to them.
Yeah, that's all I do.
And then they can send them back to you. And-
Exactly, just for him to stamp it and so
Okay.
we can get the copies done.
Any comments or questions? Anybody else?
Yeah, what's the process? You do the RFQ, the initial.
That's 9,000, we're gonna take out the budget.
Hey, if you take some more from the sheriff, you could get one of those that works.
Yeah, you're right, it may be easy to operate. But, what's the normal process? The bottom line is the RFQs would be selected, selection would be made by the administration?
Yes, ma'am. We have certain criteria that we put out that would suit the needs of our program. You know, we may want someone who's local or close by. An agency, of course, we look for someone who would have a lot of experience with governmental agencies. You know, you might want them to have certain marine experience or certain property and casualty experience. And we lay this all out with the, you know, the big questionnaire packet, send it out to people. There are some people who request it. So, you know, we do have some people we know who are interested. But we will also notify people that we're doing this in the event that they are interested. And then there's a panel that will score them. I'm on that panel, but we have an independent consultant. Our people who do our workers' comp, third-party administration, they come in and they, you know, pretty much spearhead the scoring and stuff like that, so it's kept independent. And then at that point, everybody's, you know, kind of rated, and the administration looks at everything we have, and the president will make his decision.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. In the past, has the president always gone along with the recommendation of the committee?
Yes. Anything else?
That's all I have. Any comments or questions?
Thank you.
We got total?
Mr. Chairman, while they look at the totals, of course, in reference to Ms. Burris's remarks, everything that I do, I will pass before the council and get your input.
Thank you.
18,160 is your total for that one. Next,
How much are we really looking for still? Do we know?
the last time I looked to it, we didn't do much since then. It's
We
about a
haven't done-
million and a half.
About $1.5 million we're looking for still?
Yeah.
Yeah, manpower, yeah.
Okay, well, but I mean, it's like almost 4 o'clock. I don't know if we're gonna, as
We
we.
still got quite, I mean, if we take the departments where we got supervisors here, you know,
Yeah.
and finish
We'll
them.
finish them for sure.
And then tomorrow, we could do manpower and the rest of the departments that it's just us.
We're gonna shoot for we're gonna be shooting tomorrow to be ended by 12 o'clock.
We should be able to do that.
Let's try to do
We'll
that.
be having supervisors and stuff come in and out.
Okay. Let's wrap up now. Who's next?
Okay, next is gonna be Health Department,
Okay.
and that is gonna be page
126.
Gray?
126 in the gray. Huh? No, we don't do yours, your health.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
You've been here long enough to know what we're up to.
Sure.
Appreciate anything that you can participate in, reducing your budget, as well as providing some recommendations for efficiencies in your operations.
Sure. Before I go over each line item, can I actually begin with a question for some clarity with the one particular line item for 532280, which is professional services aerial spraying?
532180?
280.
280. 532280. Aerial spray. Well, since it's only $2,000, you need an explanation of why it went from 82 to 2?
Yes, actually, that's for the citrus.
I guess that was the budget that was given to us by the previous administration.
Yeah,
And so,
I think he's aware, he just wants to let y'all know there's a problem, you know, since he doesn't have any money.
yeah, well, obviously, Mr. Nungesser didn't feel it was a priority, so he cut it. So that's the answer.
Okay, so
So,
that 80,000 is actually for the spring and for the fall.
but let me say this to you. The purpose of this meeting is to do as much as we can to reduce the expenditures. You can highlight the things that you think are necessary, but we haven't put 1 cent back into this budget since we started because we're in $15 million hole.
Okay.
But you can highlight it to us, and if you got an alternative way of how we can handle it, we'll be glad to look at it.
That's all I'm asking is for some clarity. So if we're removing this, then might as well go ahead and move the additional 2,000 on that line item.
Maybe the 2,000 was for the pellets.
No, actually, we have that in the chemical budget for the backyard trees.
All right, well, let's start at the
Okay.
front.
528-315, minus 1,000. $532-280, minus 2,000. $532-420, minus 1,000. $541-220, minus 300. 541-230, minus 600.
Which one was that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Minus 600?
Yes. 541-240, minus 200. 541-260, minus 400. 541-280, minus 300. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions or comments on public health, page number 127, 216?
I have one question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Burton?
532.420, stenographer. Can you explain that line item, please?
Yes, that's actually for our abatement program. When we call people in for a hearing, we require a stenographer to record our sessions.
For what type of sessions?
The abatement program.
Any other comments or questions?
We are going to leave the 2,000 in for the area spring.
No, we took that out.
You took it out? But I could appreciate, Benny, what we were doing here today, but we need to get area spring, even though that's not our purpose here today, because the mosquitoes is horrible.
Well,
No, actually, it's for the citrus.
This is not for mosquitoes.
Oh, this for citrus,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
So I would assume the 563-105 is with the software you were talking about earlier? The computer?
No, for
Capital
capital outlay. You mean for the abatement program?
Well, what is that consist of?
563.105, office computer software.
5,500.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that addition of 5,500. In fact, you could probably go ahead and take away 5,000.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this page? 127? That's all you have? Or you have?
For health, animal
Yep.
control, that's.
Okay, what page is that?
Let's see. So on page 131.
Okay. Proceed, sir.
Okay, I'll go to page 132. $541-200, 4,000. $541-220, 1,000. And 541, 240, 1,000. That's all I have.
Okay. That 2,200 for office furnishings is just carrying over from 14 to 15, since you spent nothing? Or did you had $22.77 in the capital outlay? You got 2,200 in the 14 so far. You spent 2,200 of it, you didn't, 2,200 is a carryover, or you still need that?
It was a carryover.
You still need it, the office furnishings?
Yeah, might need a little bit of it with some furniture.
Right.
We have some broken furniture. Yeah.
How many employees do you have?
5. 6 with the secretary.
Any other comments or questions? All right, next. That concludes your department. Okay, thank you. You have a total over there?
I was 6,000 for that department.
6,000.
All right, the next one is mosquito control.
I guess it would be based on the steps.
Oh, health? How much was health? You got health? 10,800.
What page?
129.
Page 129.
Okay, Mr. Denny, proceed.
Line item, looks like 528.005. Although we have a lot of agent equipment, I think we could still, Mr. Luther's doing a really great job of keeping it all together, so I think we could probably take some off of that. My figure was like 3,500.
Okay, 3,500. That's on 52800.
528,005, maintenance, machinery, and equipment.
Minus 3,500.
Going to line item 532.001, professional services. This is a line item that they actually used to, they take out things like that Southern Seaplane does to the airplane. We've pretty much had everything done to it. I'm saying we could take a lot off of that, I think.
You need 10,000 left?
I think if you could leave me 10,000 in it, that would be adequate.
Okay, so we take 34,400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Next.
541.110. We just got some great new scopes. We got a great deal on them. I would take off, y'all could have 600 of that. Leave me with 4, just,
Take 6.
what now?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chemicals, you need 100 for chemicals?
What now, I'm sorry?
$100,000 for chemicals?
We may need more, but, I mean, I know we're strapped, so I think right now, my thing is if we could spray responsibly and no, absolutely no, no messing around, I think we can get by, with maybe even less than that. It depends on what kind of year we have.
I understand.
It's very wet, but we're having a good long winter, and hopefully the winter will stay a little longer because that'll help us out. Mother Nature is on our side so far.
All right, thank you.
Supplies, field supplies, we could eliminate that $2,000.
Okay.
Parts and supplies, like that's 543.110. We could take about 3,000 off of that. Like I said, I do have aged equipment, but it's in good shape, and I think we're going to be okay with that. Going to let's see, 546.410. I'm sorry, 546.001. We could take 1,500 off of that. Just leave me with 500 in that, because we're pretty well stocked with everything. Of course, you could take the $50 from 546.410. We don't need any cement or asphalt. Plumbing, same thing, that's $40, 546.610, can have that. You could also have the $100 from signs, that's 546.650. We have a sign department, so I don't see any need for any, buying any signs from anybody else. You could have, we have our, computer, everything, so in capital outlay, you could have the 2250 back.
Okay.
Like I said, we have all of that, we got that last, so I don't foresee any, problems.
All right.
That's all I have.
All right. Any comments or questions on the item?
I have a question. Chris, on line item 532001, professional service general, how much money you took out of that? We need at least 17,000. Don't you have to have a yearly inspection on that aircraft?
We do. We've already had the yearly inspection. That's been done.
And then don't you have to have one of the...
At the end of the year, now that's true. That is possible.
Yeah.
We may need.
If the council decides to go with aerial spraying, we have to have the aircraft up and running, yeah.
The aircraft is ready to go for this year.
And then don't we pay certain seaplane ever so often crank up the aircraft?
We have to pay for a flight. Of course, it wouldn't cost us any chemicals. But now we have a line item of, what it was is the professional services, a lot of it used to come out of that, but now we have our own line item for
pilot.
For the pilot now. I think we have more than enough unless we get into a real, unforeseen situation.
Don't cut yourself short now.
I think we're going to be okay. We're really good on chemicals at the moment. We're really good on chemicals, and like I said, the weather is cooperating. If there's any like storms or anything,
well, yes.
I mean, it usually the federal government. I mean, the government usually comes in and assists.
And we pay $500 a month
with
for
that.
hangar space
and
for
we have
seaplane.
yeah.
That's on the line out.
Yeah, that's 6,600 up above.
How much money you left on that line item I talked to you about?
10,000.
We left 10,000. Now that's plus the 10,000 we have in
Really
pilot
usually leave
services.
about 17.
The yearly inspection usually come in about 18,000.
You have 20 for the maintenance.
Well, we have 20,000 in maintenance. If you want that, that would be fine.
Yeah, because you're gonna need that at the end of the year, you're gonna need an inspection. And it's usually been running 18,000.
Yeah.
Well, what's the maintenance for aircraft? 528,140.
That's why you have the 20,000 for the maintenance.
Yeah,
That's pretty much
that's for like, see, at one time, we didn't have those line items separated. So that's why I figured with professionals, just that line item professional services, we may not need that, that much anymore in that.
As long as you got money for that inspection, because we won't be able to fly the plane without it.
Yeah, now, it's like I said, we're gonna be okay for this year, and that's what I was saying. I may have to come back to the council mid-year And,
You heard the chairman say, don't come back, because they ain't
Oh, I
put a
mean-
penny in the budget.
There's no big deal, no.
I mean, well,
Leave it in there, Chris, leave at least 17 in that line item.
okay then, well,
So we're gonna reduce line item number 532.001, professional services, leaving,
Leave 17, Mr. Chairman, take the rest.
taking out the,
I was gonna actually
Okay.
try to leave 20 in there, but I was,
That's good.
but I was trying to,
I'll
I'm
yield
trying to
to
scrape what I can. I mean, I'm doing.
all right, so we taking, what you got, Rochelle?
24.4. 24.4. Yeah, because we want to
Okay.
leave 20.
All right,
Okay then,
okay.
that's fine. Good. Okay.
Chris,
Anything else?
if I have a question, if I may, we're leasing the plane, and we're also paying for them with the
No, sir.
hangar?
We're not leasing the plane. We own the plane. We pay the council owns the plane. We own the parish owns the plane. Parish owns the plane. We rent the hangar space. It's, I think they went up this year. It's like $700, $600 a month.
We're paying 5 right now.
We're paying 5 right now?
It says,
Okay.
thought
they
it was
went-
6,600, the budget for this year, 6,600?
Yeah, so we went up a little, they went up a little bit.
Why would they go up?
I'm not really sure. They had told me at one time that they hadn't went up in years, and they said, we're gonna go up, and I said, well, okay, I mean,
Is there any opportunity for us to, sublease that plane for somebody instead of let it sit there all year long? I mean,
the plane pretty much can only be used for agricultural uses because it's for mosquito control, chemicals. Like, you can't, go.
charter fishing?
Yeah, you can't, take it out and go,
They took the seats out for a second.
Now, one thing about it though, and it is interesting, that if there is an external fuel tank. It's not, an external chemical tank. The chemical's not inside the fuselage, so therefore there is not a lot of, in other words, if you put the seats back in it, which we have the seats, you could take the bottom tank off and you could use the plane whatever you want. A lot of people will they'll tell you, well, because it's an ag plane, you can't, but that's because on most ag planes, the tank is inside the fuselage. It's actually behind the pilot's seat, but this is a tank underneath, so once it's removed, you could pretty much wipe out the inside. There's no residue or anything, and you could use the plane however you want it.
But we could contact surrounding parishes, see if they need aerial spraying.
Yeah. It's just what we have Jefferson, we have St. Bernard, which has their own plane, we have New Orleans that does that. I know I spoke with some of you in the past, that it probably wouldn't even be, if you wanted to get rid of the plane and hire in like we used to have a company that we used. I could call them at any time, give them the coordinates, and they could come spray whatever GPS coordinates I give them. And that's really probably all the parish needs. It's just that I've been working with what I have. I've been keeping the airplane up because we have it. And
do we use it?
We probably don't need it as much as we were using it, but you definitely need air support in Plaquemines. If you want to. When we have those big outbreaks of a certain species of mosquito, you want to be able to get on them right away. If you don't, well, people are going to be pestered by them. Right. They're not as big of they're not as big of vectors for disease as they are nuisance, but they are nuisance big time. Okay. And it's good you have to have some type of air support, because when you have these problems, you have to react immediately. You can't discuss it. You can't, you can't do a lot of, you have to make a decision and do it.
All right, any further comments or questions?
The only question I have is 544.001. It's not that much, of $1,800 budgeted, and used, I think, 103 and
14. I'm sorry, what was that again?
44.001.
Small tools and equipment. That's something we probably could lower that some. I'm trying to get the guys some tools because I'm not saying that he is, but Mr. Luther may be, he has his own tools, and he may be retiring, and that would kind of leave me toolless. So, we were gonna, yeah, I mean, we could, lower that a couple $100, $500, if you want to take $500 off of that, that's probably not gonna hurt you.
Okay. Any further comments or questions on this item? None? Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Next.
Last one.
You got
Mr.
Mr.
Henry.
Control total, Dominic?
Oh, I forgot about Mr. Hill.
Hey, you have a
Yeah,
mosquito
that was
control total?
37,940.
No, 30,940. 3,700. Wait, how much, sir? 37,000?
37,940, yeah.
Them nickels,
All right.
ambulance.
Yeah, you want to go between all of them for detail? Are we going to go to white pages on this one?
What page?
Page
No.
399, the white pages.
What page, Dominic? I'm on
399.
133. No?
399 in the white.
Right.
I thought I was ready. I did the numbers on the summary pages, and they have pulled up the individual budgets, so it might
So
take me.
We can do
we
it
can
on
do
summary.
the summary pages if
It's
the
up to
numbers
you.
are bigger.
Well, it's probably all gonna add up to the same, but coming out of the summary will go faster,
Okay, let's go to the
because
summary.
that's how I prepare it.
You want it on the gray pages then?
What's the page number?
133.
133.
133.
All right.
If you give us $1 million, we won't do a merger.
What's that?
2 million.
Like $1 million.
Okay, 133.
Yes. Excuse me, 133.
133. Yes, sir. And I have a question first. I do have an ordinance that we were going to have introduced to refund the full-time position that's not funded right now. I do have the ordinance set where it takes money within the budget to refund that position.
What position?
The full-time paramedic position in Point Lahash.
Is
We're
it
short
vacant?
one
That's of the,
full-time position.
Ordinances she had for introduction in the last meeting.
It's introduced already?
No,
No,
this one I
sir.
had given, that we just kind
Well,
of bypassed.
Yeah. And you don't want to add anything in this budget because of the ordinances, right?
No, I mean, we can, if you want to just introduce the ordinance that's in here, we can do that, because it's all made up already. No, rather than I do it in this,
That's what I'm saying, you don't want to do anything like that.
no. I'd rather
Okay.
do it on a separate order.
And I brought that up because there's going to be some line items I don't want to take the money out of, because that's the money I'm using to transfer for that
Okay,
position.
let's begin.
Okay. 521.105, take that 100 out. 110, that 240 can come out. Down to, I don't do the communications, that's telecommunications that figures those amounts.
Before we skip down, the increase in utilities, electrical,
I don't figure the utilities either.
Yeah, that's something we do. We just,
okay.
we look at historical, and then we just, we go up.
I have a question.
Councilman Johnson.
Yeah, since they're moving, some of them, I don't know if all of them moving in with the firehouse, would that be considered to lower the rate of utilities?
We're in two.
I know you're in the Point
fires.
Lahash area,
Mhm.
so I don't know, would that be considered enough to take money out of that budget?
I think fire is already paying for,
Yeah, no, I'm talking about lower this.
no, this is what we actually had to pay last year.
Yeah, but there was out, are they out of the,
It's broken out by each division, each location.
Yeah, when you broke it, you broke it down, they was out of the house, out of the trailer.
Right now.
No, before last year, that's what we talking about.
Yeah, right now I have a budget that's done in the trailer.
Yeah, you see,
Huh?
this is a summary,
Oh,
and this has got all of them put
I
together.
understand. We moved out of a trailer in Point Last year
Right.
to the firehouse.
That's what I'm saying,
Okay.
that's accountable
I understand.
for that? Because they're no longer in that trailer paying utilities or on that particular side. They're in the firehouse.
I don't know, did you check into that? Yeah, I have to look at
Okay.
it. That's all broken down in the
But
back, and since we're doing this as a summary, we've got all the.
Yeah, but that goes throughout the whole
We'll
pack.
look at it.
Yeah, but all of them not in there, though.
I know, but why not?
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
You know?
Because we never passed the ordinance yet.
No, not for that. I'm talking about, just, even if there's no merger. I mean, that's just kind of an idea. That's nothing introduced, but why isn't, can EMS co-locate with fire?
You have fire chiefs that don't even let the paid firemen move in. So
Right.
I'd love to have permanent structures,
There
but,
is,
we've done what we could.
It's a possibility to cut on that side.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 527.450, you can take 4,000 out of that. The next one's 610, take 2,000 out of that. Then the next one, 528.310, you can take that 1,200 out. I don't, let's see, 528.340, you can take 500 out of that. The 528.710, you can take that 100. Professional services general, 532.001, 1450, you can take that out. 532.190, extermination, you can reduce that by 500. That next one, it's only $20, but 532.220, I don't know why it's in there. Fire protection, 532.240, you can reduce that by 500. 535.105, you can reduce that by 1,000. 541.010, you can reduce that by 500. 541.040, you can take that 400 out. 541.050, you can reduce that by 1,500. 541.070, reduce that by 550. 541.080, take that 500 out. 541.220, you can take that 2,500 out. 541.230, you can reduce that by 8,000. 543.510, you can reduce that by 2,000. 551.105, travel, you can take that out. Nobody should be traveling right now. Okay, on capital outlay, the last page, I'll tell you what.
On 532,240.
There wasn't 500 there to take, huh?
Oh, on which one? I might have called the wrong number.
I think you did.
What's the number?
You called out 532,240.
532,240.
Yeah, she said
You
five.
said to move 500, they're going to 450.
Right, I thought you said three, but.
Then all right, let's go back to, the extermination one. That one was 500. That is 532,190, and then the 20, and then the 240 is 150. my bad. Okay, on the last page with the capital outlay, on 563.005, take out 4,000. And on the last one, 565.001, take out 4,000. The rest of that is about a $30,000 grant that we have.
All right.
So then we just let the ordinance introduce for the position, correct? Thank you.
Just to clarify something while you're
Yes,
here,
sir.
and just to prove also that I'm not always picking on EMS. I know we have 7 fire district, volunteer districts, and I've heard that rumor that some of the full-time operators aren't allowed to stay in those fire stations, and I see EMS has some trailers on the side of some fire stations, and I see the facility that you're in now off of Main Street, which looks to me in deplorable condition. I mean, maybe the administration can explain, or the council chair with your previous experience, who owns those buildings, and why does a volunteer chief have the authority to keep people out?
Fire department do it. They own.
No, without stepping on a whole lot of necks, the buildings are owned by the government, and if the implementation was to make them share those buildings, it could happen. But when you're dealing with volunteers, it tends to be something of a difficult task because they are volunteers. But the fire departments do have paid people, but they also rely on the volunteers a great deal. And the historical perspective has been that they've been there at their own free will, and that's why a whole lot of things haven't happened. But in today's day, I guess it's going to be a challenge for us to try to merge or...
I mean, I just see where Gina, her office is set up, and it's a bad situation. And I look on Engineers Road, and there's a trailer in front of a firehouse, and you look previously on the East Bank in Point LaHash, you have other...
That truck and down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it was there for the longest time. I mean, and that's all throughout the parish. I just, I wanted to get a little bit of a historical perspective on that, and
I don't know if that helps you.
yeah.
The paid fireman is not enough to staff and cover the parish for fire protection. They are manpower.
But I understand that with the volunteers, but
They've never wanted to step on their toes, is what it boils down to.
you guys do it?
We get trampled on all the time.
Okay.
I think we didn't have the vision when we start building these firehouses to accommodate the ENS period. I mean, we didn't have the vision to do that. I think if we'd have had that, we'd have made additional rooms to be more comfortable.
Well, and the reason why we have one in Point LaHash and Port Sulphur is we had a house in Point LaHash where our crew stayed. We actually got it during your administration. And then in Port Sulphur, we used the administrative house and nurses' quarters for the hospital. So we had square footage that the parish owned. So when it came to the PWs, then we were able to get in on PWs with square footage. That's why we have at least 2 permanent structures.
I think some of the volunteers have to understand, since we're in this crunch, they got to allow you and your workers into those buildings. They got to understand that we trying to save a dollar. Now, I know they've been working for years and years and years, and they're excellent. You need the volunteers. But we have to write them a letter from the administration, or if we have to go to them and talk to them as a group, I'll be willing to go talk to them. But they got to understand that for us to save money, you may have to move in with the fire department. Would you be comfortable with that?
Having enough square footage in the buildings they have now, it's 2 different modes of staffing. They come for 1 day, 24 hours, and they're gone for 48. So the most they have to stay there is 24 hours. Our people work 7 on, 7 off. So our people come in and actually have to live somewhere for 7 days. like I've said in meetings before, we'll do whatever we have to. The parish has been in bad situations before, and we've pulled together and did what we've had to do. I don't know that, it's not all of your firemen. It's not all of your fire districts. And we have great working relationships with all of them. So we'll do whatever we have to do.
I took a tour of the Belle Chasse, and they got private rooms for ladies, and they got rooms for gentlemen.
And I was criticized for making separate sleeping quarters in the places that we have, and I just felt that was right. Now I know they have it.
Right, that's what I want to tell you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, the administration, in regards to what Mr. Bartholomew said about vision, right now, we have an opportunity, at least I thought we had an opportunity with the temporary buildings that were taken away from Phoenix High School and also at South Plaquemines High School. Those would be excellent facilities that we could utilize for EMS. And we've tried to get in touch with people to work with the school board or with FEMA to try and latch on to some of those buildings. In fact, I think they're located stacked up by Bender's on the east bank.
Yes, just
and they're
south of Braithwaite Park.
down by Shelley's in the Woods Health area. And so any help that anyone could give us as far as obtaining one or two of those buildings or more, and we could utilize that, I'm sure.
That would be one.
He owns them now. So, I mean, it's a good possibility I get in touch with him. And let him call your office and find out whatever the particulars are. Now, I don't know if they would have to be elevated or not. I don't know.
Okay, any further comments, questions? Mr. Henry, you have anything to offer today?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Y'all got, my department's left, that's it.
Your department?
Yeah.
Oh, we could do that tomorrow, or what?
We can do it tomorrow, today, whatever you want to do.
Can we finish today?
Yeah, we can do it today. I mean, I don't
Is
have
there any
to-
objection to staying and finishing today?
It's not
I have
gonna
no
take
problem with
10
that.
minutes, you know, unless y'all got a lot
No, I'm
of
talking about
questions.
finishing. I think the chairman wants, you talking about finishing?
Yeah, you, no.
I have no problem with that, but I mean, I don't know if anybody else.
Oh, I mean, you mean
I'm not
finishing,
gonna be
we
in
still
tomorrow,
gotta
I'm
go
not-
through manpower.
No.
I know.
And I do have a lot of small departments too that are kind of,
Okay,
What's the ambulance total? The total
Total?
for ambulance?
switch the page, you got that total? I got 37,010.
How much?
37,010.
okay, could you tell us, if we're gonna recess until tomorrow, then we can go ahead and get a total now? And see what we're gonna be challenged with in the morning.
Okay. Got them all in there. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff we did, so I mean, if we made an error here and there, you know.
While she's doing that, do you have an estimate if we were to cut all vacancies for manpower? I mean, what's the total of that? Do you know that offhand?
Yeah, she's got that.
But I don't think you have to cut all of them.
No, I don't think so either, but,
But I do have a total, 1,763,000.
I mean, just for the legal department with the cuts he already made.
Right, right.
Is 162,000, so that'll help us, you know, with that, so.
Yeah, because all of these figures don't include any of the salary.
No.
salary.
So what's
No, we
the,
didn't go through any of that stuff yet. So we just have the manpower left and, you know, and then, we do have a few departments, small departments I'd like to, but just for y'all to look at. It's not a whole lot of money there, but.
1,494,000 is what we have left.
how much?
1,494,000.
1 million what? No, 3,194,000.
You got a different calculator.
Right, 1.5, so to speak.
And Tommy, when you say that we won't be able to cut all the vacancies, what are you basing that on? The vacant positions?
Well, there's some vacancies, don't you have the stuff that's being filled already? Or is that,
No, they're going on there, but I don't think these departments will be without some of these positions.
I don't know why they build it over.
right, we have, just like my department, we have 2 positions where everybody moved up.
That's a good idea.
But I can get, you know, I can take one of them, but there's one of them I'm really not gonna be able to do without. And we just, it takes so long to hire people, you know, that we just weren't able to hire them. But I have 2, you know, I could give one of them up, but I really need to fill one. That's the same kind of situation that other departments are gonna be in too.
Bring it up.
Okay,
But I mean, we can definitely go through each one of them, tell you what they are, and then,
all right. The will of the council, it looks like to me, is that we're gonna recess until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
okay?
And thank you for all being so patient. I know this is a grueling experience, but again, Mr. President,
The administration just thanks the council members for their tireless efforts today. I mean, you're really putting in some good work, and once again, thank you.
thank you.
I'll let y'all know, I solved the sheriff problem today. I understand. Since being in place, he's going to pull out, do a takeover of the prison and pull out the building. And whenever you go to the prison, you'll give
You
him
all right, and I second that. John, you can put the library in.
Put the library, library, health clinic,